I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop, and today we're going to make fun gifts for moms and babies. We're going to take 2 flannel fat quarters and make 2 burp cloths. So let's get started. We recently had a baby shower at Fat Quarter Shop, and Teresa made the cutest burp cloths. And so I thought, I want to know how to make that. So I'm sure you guys do also. So we're going to show you how to make those. We are using flannel today, and this is the Wild One collection by dear Stella. And 2 fat quarters will make 2 burp cloths. So let's get started. Super easy. You can just pull from your stash and go. I have my 2 fat quarters of flannel. I'm going to put them right sides together and take them to the iron and press them. And you're just going to line up the sides, and it doesn't have to be exact. The most important thing is to be right sides together. Okay, so we have our fabrics right sides together, and the reason we're doing that is it will just save time later. Then you're going to take your selvage edge, pull it over to your straight edge, and we're not going to use anything exact. We're just going to cut. So you just want to cut a straight line here, and that's going to take off your edge and your 2 selvages. Then you're going to move to the next seam, and you're just going to line up your ruler and cut. The next one is to cut the fold. So even if you don't have exactly 2 fat quarters, you can use whatever fabric you have. You're basically just trying to create a rectangle. Now from here, this first layer will give you 1 burp cloth, and the second layer will give you another. So from here, we want to round the corners just so you have a cute edge. And I've got the Creative Grids multi-size curved corner, and there are different sizes, 1.5, 3, and 2 inches. I'm going to just do the 1.5, but if you don't have this, all you have to do is just draw this, or you can just put a bowl on and then just draw a line. Now from here, when you're using a rotary cutter, if you go up and down, you're going to get a little bit of friction. So you want to tilt your rotary cutter against the ruler. And it's going to be a little bit hard because of the flannel. So since I'm cutting 4 layers, it's a little bit harder. If you're using the 45-degree rotary cutter, you could just do 1 layer, or since this is really small, I'm going to use the 28mm, but doing 2 layers at a time is a lot easier than 4. So from here, I'm going to take this and set this one aside, and this will be the one that you just make after. What we're going to do is keep that right sides together, and since it's flannel, it really sticks together. I wouldn't even pin. I'm just going to go to my sewing machine, and I'm going to sew with the same seam all the way around. I'm going to use a 1/4 inch. You can use whatever you want. I'm going to start here, back stitch, stitch all the way around, and then I'm going to stop about right here, and I'm going to leave a 2 to 3 inch opening and back stitch. So I'll leave an opening, and I'm just going to use a light colored Aurifil thread. I would just use 100% cotton thread, and let's go sew around the edges and leave that opening. Now when you get to the corner, I have a trick that I use when I'm turning a corner. I'm going to use my hand and rotate it, and that will make it go nicely around. And I've left that opening. So that when you turn this right side out, you don't have a lot of clumps. You can just cut a couple of seams in, just clip to the seams, not past it, and that will let your fabric move around when you turn that right side out. And then you're just going to open this up and just pull this right sides out. Now when you get this right side out, I'm just going to use my finger and run it along the seam. You could use a point turner, you could use a chopstick. I'm just going to use my finger. It's flannel, it's very movable and pliable. It's going to just lay nice and flat, so I don't think you need a special tool. So from here, we're going to top stitch right on the edge, but what I want to do is iron so that all of this is nice and flat. So you'll just get this as even as you can and iron. Now we have this opening right here. What I'm going to do is just tuck this in to where it's pretty flat and straight across the edge. iron that. And then once it's nice and flat, I'm gonna put a couple of pins in just so I know when I'm going over this that this is my opening. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna set my stitch length to a 2.0, and you can start and end anywhere you want. I'm gonna start slightly before the pins, and I am gonna backstitch. I'm gonna stitch right on the edge because I really want it to catch the seam, and if you go too far out, you won't catch it. When you get to the end, backstitch again, and you can stitch on either side, whatever side you prefer. So I'm gonna take this open toe foot and I'm just going to guide it right along the edge, and that's how I'm gonna get my seam, and it'll look nice and pretty. When you get to your previous where you started, cut the thread so it doesn't tangle up, and you want to stitch slightly over the previous stitches and backstitch. Then cut your little baby threads off, and I'll show you how this looks up close. And you can see the stitches by using that foot. I'm right on the edge, and you can even tell where we flip that open, and it's ready for your baby, and you made it in like 10 minutes. These burp cloths are so easy to make, and they're great for baby shower gifts. Now, if you want to talk about pre-washing, you could pre-wash your fabrics before you start. You don't have to. And you could also wash it after you make it before you give it as a gift. It's totally up to you. I would just put it on the gentle cycle, and you could just lightly press it when you're done. I'm going to be bringing you more baby projects, so that's going to be super fun. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next time.